Welcome to Laptop Radio. Today's topic is ease of use for NFTs. We have Michael Sophia with us. He is the CEO of Pylons. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you located?
I'm in New York City. Yeah, downtown Manhattan.
Awesome. Tell us your story.
Yeah. So I got into the blockchain space in 2013. A friend of mine asked me to run the engineering team and do architecture for his Bitcoin exchange he wanted to do. And I wasn't particularly interested in Bitcoin at the time, but I was interested in the idea of a Bitcoin exchange and what the technical challenges of that. I joined that project, did that, and sort of began to understand that there's some real transformative power in this technology. At the time, they were talking about banking the unbanked. That was this theme of what Bitcoin was supposed to be. It was way before anybody was calling it digital gold. We were interested in trying to make that happen. And then that sort of never happened, or at least it didn't happen for a very long time. It may be starting to happen in some ways now, like this year. But I was always interested in trying to figure out how to make that happen. And as I sort of moved through my blockchain career, I was trying to keep an eye out for sort of the kinds of technologies that could really make the technology really work at scale for regular people. And when I saw the Cosmos project, the Tendermint project, I talked to Jaquan for a long time and figured out that I really believed in his vision of an IBC connected Internet of blockchains. And I thought he really understood how consensus engines work and could really build one. I got on the Cosmos train at that point. I'm still on it. I'm a huge Cosmos fan. And then CryptoKitties was a big transformative moment for me in terms of what the cryptocurrency technology could really provide to people who don't come in with a lot of money, because most people in the world don't have a lot of money to buy into this world with, and they need to engage in ways that are not primarily financial. And so these kinds of item-mediated experiences, blockchain experiences that are mediated by digital assets that are not primarily financial, to me, that's the real gateway. That's the real way that we can reach the billions of people on this planet with this technology. So I've been inspired to build something like that for a long time. And Pylons is really my attempt at that. And we've pulled a team together in the last 6 months and launched a testnet. And the idea is the chain has no gas fees. The transactions are super fast and super cheap. There's a really easy to use mobile wallet or mobile first. And there's a really, simple and easy to use SDK so that you can build apps on top of this wallet, which runs on this blockchain. It's this whole ecosystem that's really designed to make it really possible for regular mobile developers and regular mobile phone users to get into the blockchain world and have experiences mediated by digital items in a way that it isn't really hard to use or confusing, but is really nice and friendly.
Awesome. When you say ease of use for NFTs, I assume your perception of ease of use might be different from me. When we talk about ease of use, what do you specifically mean?
People who are in the crypto community have gotten used to a lot of things that, for the most part, to most people are very confusing and weird. One example is browser extensions. Those of us in the space have a lot of browser extensions to manage our various currencies. Most people in the world do not have browser extensions, don't know that browser extensions exist, and would be uncomfortable installing them if they did. That's just one example. Another example is sort of the on-ramp to the cryptocurrency world involves crypto exchanges. It involves sending money to some company, swapping that money for some currency you don't really understand yet, and then doing a bunch of complicated stuff to bring that money into some new environment. It's a huge series of quite high hurdles that probably everyone watching this podcast has gone through and feels comfortable with, but maybe wasn't always comfortable with. And I think it's important for us to understand that these things that we've done that we feel, more comfortable with now are not things that the general public is comfortable with. Most people are, in order to play a mobile game, are not going to go and buy some token on an exchange. They're not going to wire money to somewhere, buy some token, move it in, do all this setup stuff. The bar to a mobile game, the free to play world is pretty straightforward. The bar is can you get their attention? Can you get them to install the game? That's all you get. Then they can play it. Do they like it or not? Right. But if there's more than install this app, it's very, very difficult to get a large number of people across that line. When I say ease of use, I'm sort of looking at this from the perspective of what if you're a free to play mobile game dev? How do we have an ease of use story that is comparable with what the reality is in the market of mobile games right now?
When there's a number of NFTs platforms that's spring up this year, what distinguishes yours from the other?
Yeah, we have, I think, a pretty ambitious vision of what digital property should be. There's a level of programmability and accessibility of that programmability that we're really committed to. You see a lot of NFT projects say there's going to be a game built on top of these tokens. You have not seen a lot of actual projects actually implement a game on top of those tokens. And on the Ethereum blockchain, like you can't really do it. It just the gas fees make it possible. Now, Axie Infinity has done it by basically building a sidechain that just runs Axie Infinity's game. The barrier to get into that is like pretty complicated if you've tried the process of getting through the Ronin wallet and actually playing Axie. It's not a 5-minute process, let's say that. It's a pretty high bar. I know they're going to improve it. It's an amazing team, but right now, what's going on is there's a lot of, here's a way to mint art. Here's a way to do some things. There's some simple stuff that a lot of these projects are doing really well. A lot of these projects are bringing curation to the table, which I think is really, really important and really excellent. And we're trying to provide a way to do that. We're not ourselves doing any curation at this point. What we're trying to do is sort of build a level of infrastructure that's deeper than that and powers a set of experiences that are both more accessible and more complex and more programmable than what's available right now in the NFT world.
So you're making a mobile SDK for game making, and game making is usually really hard for mobile developers. How are you integrating NFT into that mobile SDK?
Our mobile SDK is only an NFT SDK. We're not competing with Unity or something like that. We don't have a graphics engine. We're not doing anything like that. What we are is a really simple way for you to, in some part of your code, say, at this moment, generate this item. Or at this moment, the player wants to convert 10 wood into a chair. And there's a transaction. You've published a contract to the chain that says players can convert 10 wood into a chair and it takes 10 minutes. The mobile SDK allows you to plug into your mobile game this moment where a player hits a button and it executes that contract to like do that transaction. 10 wood becomes a chair. We're very much like a digital item engine for that piece of your experience. We're not a framework for mobile apps. We're a framework for infusing digital property into your mobile apps in like a really easy and native way.
What is your vision for NFTs and GameFi in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about sort of cross-experience cosmetics, cross-venue cosmetics. I want to see what people think of as skins. I want to see ownership move from the venue. Basically, what's going on right now is any particular cosmetic is sort of owned inside the venue where it's displayed. Yeah. And I, over the next 2 years, want to be a part of changing that machinery so that you own your cosmetics outside the venues where they're displayed. And you can display them in multiple venues. If you buy some set of Nike sneakers, NFT sneakers, you can wear them in a set of games that all sort of implement bringing that pair of sneakers into the game. That's a huge thing for me, is changing that balance, breaking down the walled garden walls and moving ownership to people instead of leaving. If you can only use the NFT in one venue, you don't really own it because that venue can just change their code and not show it anymore. And then what are you going to do? It doesn't mean anything. We really need, I think, to shift the paradigm and really move ownership out of particular venues and move away from this idea of like collaborations with individual venues and move towards designers making things that are multi-venue, so that they can be integrated in a lot of places and really be owned by the player in a much more robust way. That's one huge piece of it. Another piece of it is I really want to see a generic sort of like marketplace, what's essentially play to earn, but basically an idea that these game items are a little more fungible. You can trade them with players in a way that sort of is outside the machinery of an in-game auction house and allow players to sort of like, if they've played a game for 2 years and they want to be done, that they can sell their kit in a way that isn't selling their account online through an account sales forum, which is what people do now. And it's sketchy and weird and expensive and people get scammed. But there's a huge demand. There's like a lot of people who are doing this where like, oh, I'm done playing. Wow, I want to sell my account. And it's just a massive, complex thing. There's huge demand there from people, and I really want to empower that.
Besides ownership and having some kind of multiverses games, not just one, what else do you think should change for NFTs? And that's also besides ease of use.
Yeah, I mean, then the last piece of that we're really trying to push on is this concept of programmability, like easy programmability, utility, building game logic into the contract of the item itself and making that something that can operate at scale, that you actually can do this. You can like push more, maybe not all of the game logic onto chain, but continue to push game logic onto chain so that it's reliable, so that people can trust. Loot boxes on chain are much more sort of believable because you can check the randomness, you can check the stats, than loot boxes that just run off some company's server.
Do you have any tokens?
There's no native payment token that you have to use. There's no particular token you have to use Pylons.
Okay.
We're really interested in making sure it's accessible. And one piece of that is not requiring our users to buy some token they don't already want. We're trying to power sales in whatever tokens people already have and are interested in. It's so important to us to be able to denominate transactions in Ethereum. You can move Ethereum across the Gravity Bridge chain into our zone, spend Ethereum on NFTs, price your NFTs in Ethereum, and be able to build games on them. And you can have an ETH denominated ecosystem that can bridge back out without having to pay the gas fees of Ethereum. We're really excited about that. We're also really excited about building direct integrations with fiat payment gateways so that if you want to sell for fiat, you want to sell your art for fiat or sell your loot boxes for fiat, you can do that. And that it'll just work like integrated in a nice, clean way. You can say, this costs $10 to execute. And the system handles getting that $10, executing the transaction and reporting back to you that the transaction's been executed. That's something that like we're really interested in. And it's part of the ease of use experience where it's just like, if you're a regular user and you're not yet interested in cryptocurrency, but you want to have digital game items, you can get in with fiat on a transaction by transaction basis without waiting for stuff to clear, without buying an intermediate token. You can just sort of spend your $2 to get your thing and like move on.
Do you have anything else to share that I have not asked you?
There's so much. We just had a hackathon. It was really interesting. We had some cool submissions. And we are sort of taking the lessons, what we learned from that, what needs to be built, where our SDK needs the most improvement. And we're really starting up a whole new engineering phase. And so, yeah, if you are excited by building blockchains and mobile powered blockchains in Go or Flutter or whatever, give me a call. That's something you didn't ask me about.
Where can people find you?
The easiest way is actually just join our Discord, discord.gg/pylons. We have various jobs pages. I think there's one linked off the website, pylons.tech. But yeah, it's totally fine. Just join in Discord and say hi and say what you do and, join the conversation. The Discord is basically all developers. It's a pretty cool place. If you're interested in this kind of development, like blockchain powered gaming development, the Pylons discord.gg/pylons is a pretty cool place to be.
Awesome. What is one piece of advice that you have for the community that you would like to provide? And the community could be the immediate community, the Stanford community, or just the world in general.
Yeah. What I will say is the mountain is not going to come to you. You have to go to the mountain. The billions of people on this planet have the ways they live their lives. They aren't interested in learning private key security strategies that you spent a bunch of time developing and perfecting. We have to go to them. We have to make the world we're building accessible and fun and safe to them in the place they are. Users are going to be where they are. They're not going to change to meet what you think they should be. And this is sort of always true for all digital security concepts. But I will say to the blockchain people in particular, meet your users where you are, meet your desired users where they are. You have to go to them and play on their level. We have to make more accessible and more user-friendly tools to get more people into the cryptocurrency ecosystem.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.